Hello, testing, 1, 2. Hello, how are you feeling today? Is that all? Is that all? How are you feeling? We are Azania Drum. We are a Southside-based traditional West African drum group. We offer mentorship, teaching, expanding the diaspora and the arts through drumming, specifically West African djembe drumming. You can find us on Instagram at Azania, Azanzia. That's Azania. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that was grounding. It brought me into the space. Let me get up here for a second. My name is Richard Wallace. I'm the founder of Equity and Transformation, also known as EAT. And we partnered with the Movement for Black Lives to bring this convening together, and it's called the Big Payback People's Assembly. So welcome to the Big Payback People's Assembly. Give yourselves a hand for coming out. So I'm gonna start. I'm a preacher's kid, so I gotta write what I'm gonna say down, or else I'm gonna go long-winded and ain't no telling where I'll land. And I think it's important for me. I always open up in this process, and we're gonna teach y'all how to go through it yourself, right? So my name is Richard Wallace. My parents' names are Reverend Doris Green, Eugene Wallace, and Minister Mike Smith. My grandparents were Woodrow Wallace and Alma Mae Wallace from Jackson, Mississippi, and Columbus Taylor and Allie Johnson from Arkansas. Both of my parents were raised in the Jim Crow South and descendants of chattel slavery. And they all arrived here, right here on the west side of Chicago, where they raised their family on Jackson and Holman, right? And so for you all, as an icebreaker, as a way to kind of break the ice, this is not going to be us talking to you thing. That's not the model of a movement assembly, people's assembly. The model is y'all have the genius, right, to advance this movement forward. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start by doing a quick icebreaker. And what you're going to do is y'all got the little pamphlets and pens. If you don't have a pen, please raise your hand. Rachel's here with pens. And you got a little booklet. It's a notebook, so you got places to write things down. So let me know when y'all all, if you can raise your book up in the air to let me know that you got it and you're ready, we're going to get going like that. Okay. All right. The first thing you're going to write down is, what's your name? Real simple. What is your name? And then what's your family name? Your parents' name and your family name. So my family was Taylors, Wallaces. That's my family names. And where do you call home? Is the next question. Where is home? And how did your people arrive there? In my statement, I said my home is Chicago. My folks, my family arrived there from Jackson, Mississippi, and Arkansas, right? So if you know where your family came from in relationship to their arrival to Chicago, you can write that down. And if you don't, you could just put down Chicago as home, home, home. And we'll give y'all about 5 minutes to get that done, and then you're gonna turn to your neighbor and you're gonna share that. So in 5 minutes, we're gonna come back. I'm gonna come back up to the stage and I'm gonna ask you to turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, my name is, my parents' names are, my home is, and my people arrived from. Okay, y'all got it? All right, I'll be right back. Give you 5 minutes. We got some some music to play or something like that in the background while they do this? All right. All right, how y'all feeling about that first exercise? You feel good? All right, now can you turn to your neighbor? Find you somebody that you don't know. I know it's easy to find folks that we know. We probably sit next to people that we know, but if you can find somebody that you don't know, that's fine. And tell them what your story is, who you are, right? What your family names are and where you from. Okay, well, I'm gonna give y'all 5 minutes to go ahead and break the ice, get to know who's sitting next to you, and we're gonna come back up. All right, if you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap 3 times. Now just keep clapping and give yourselves a hand for going through that first icebreaker with us. If there are any connections that you made, anybody want to share a connection? Come on, Brooke.
Jacqueline and I are both from Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh, wow. Okay, how many people, did you hear that? Jacqueline and Brooke are both from Jackson, Mississippi. Okay. How many other folks in this room got lineage going back to Jackson, Mississippi? Raise your hand. Or to Mississippi? Okay. How many folks in here from Arkansas? Okay. We got some Tennessee in here? Okay, what about the Carolinas? Okay, well, okay. Y'all must be from the West Coast. I'm guessing y'all from Okay. Any place that I'm missing? Alabama. Ooh, I messed up. Alabama, Georgia. Say it out loud. I said Arkansas. I did call Arkansas. Louisiana's in the building. Tulsa's in the building. Greenwood is in the building, and Greenwood is doing some phenomenal work around reparations right now, so shout out to the organizers and activists in Greenwood. And so I'm not going to stay up here in front of y'all for a long time because, like I said, it's a people's movement assembly. We are not the experts on this, and I don't think we could ever be the experts on this. The community will always be the experts on reparations. Right? I always feel like the people that are closest to the fire can tell you exactly how to put it out, right? And so I'm just going to describe why we are here. Once everybody gets settled in, I'm going to explain why we are here and then what we're going to be up to for the rest of the day, right? So I'll bring you through a quick rundown of the agenda. So right now, we just got done with the icebreaker. The main program is beginning, so welcome to the main program. We just finished up, we're gonna do a visioning exercise. And shout out to the phenomenal team. Shout out to everybody working at the front, handing out the food. Shout out to the bus drivers. If you took an Uber or a Lyft here, if your mama dropped you off, shout out to every single person. It takes all of us to make this happen. And so I'm gonna bring us through why we are here. So if you don't know, I'm Richard Wallace. I'm the founder of an organization called Equity and Transformation, also known as EAT. We organize black informal workers. Folks are like, what are black informal workers? If you think about Eric Garner, who remembers who Eric Garner is? That goes back in some movement history. A young brother who was killed while selling loose cigarettes in New York. If you think about Alton Sterling, was a young brother that was killed in New Orleans selling bootleg DVDs. See, informality and also equity and transformation is led by formerly incarcerated people. We gotta say that and stand on that because the brilliance, right, is coming from us. And that must be situated, right? But when you think about the informal economy, you think about the street economies, that's the candy lady, that's childcare. It is all the forms, the unique ways that our people make lemonade out of lemons on a regular basis. We live in a city right now where 47% of black men are outside of the labor force, and they still surviving, right? I would rather have them in lucrative living wage employment opportunities, but times have changed. And so we see us Uber driving, right? We see us in a number of different hustles in order to make ends meet. And those are the folks that we organize, right? So the question of why we are here It's because we are here because in 2024, again, 47% of black men in Illinois were unemployed. We are here because the net worth, this came out of a report out of the New School, the net worth of black families in Chicago is 0. We are here because Chicago's black population has fallen by roughly 500,000 since 1980. We are here because the prison population has increased by 450% since 1980. So you wonder where we're going. Those two statistics right next to each other make a lot of sense. The fact that they literally tore down public housing in this city and promised the return of our people, and those people never showed back up. I got family members in Beloit, Wisconsin, Rockford, Peoria, all over the map, but they did not return back to Chicago, so they have displaced numbers of us. We are here because black women had the highest rate of maternal mortality in the state of Illinois. And in fact, Medicaid recipients died almost 4 times as often as people with private insurance. Think about that. The state-supported Medicaid program, right? More of our sisters are dying in birth, right, on Medicaid than they are on private insurance, right? And at the same time, they're doing cuts to a lot of those public services in this particular moment. And last but not least, we're here because we believe that there is the only policy that can truly address all of the above is reparations. And folks that don't know in the room what reparations is, a lot of times, who watched that Dave Chappelle skit on reparations? The Newport truck and all of that, wow. That messed me up, because in my mind, I thought reparations was just a bag of money. I thought it was just a bag of money and go do your own thing. But when I began to do research on reparations, I learned that it was so much more. The UN has, and also reparations wasn't just for slavery. Other folks and other demographics in this country have actually won reparations, from the Japanese to the Holocaust survivors, right? It's just that they have not given it to us. And in my personal opinion, it has been the longest standing campaign that black folks have had since the end of slavery, right? We've been demanding and advocating for this in numerous ways. And for me, I feel like when it comes down to reparations, what I wanted to help folks so that when we get into this space, you can understand why it's shaped the way that it's shaped, is that reparations has 5 pillars. The first pillar is rehabilitation. That's a commitment to rehabilitate the survivors to the condition they were in, right? Second pillar is restitution, which is restoring a survivor to the condition they were in before the harm occurred. Third pillar, you gotta wait all the way to 3 to get to compensation, right? And that's the bag, right? We all understand compensation. We want the bag, right? But in addition to the bag, there's also the 4th pillar, which I feel like is the most important, and it's guarantees of non-repetition. It is saying very clearly that we're gonna go back and review the history of harm and create levers to ensure that this harm does not happen to future generations. And so when we think about the extensions, right, of chattel slavery, which look like black codes, look like Jim Crow laws, which look like redlining, which looks like mass incarceration, this thing is shifted over generations, right? I don't know who in here, almost everybody I know knows someone who's been incarcerated. In fact, I believe there's 2.4 million, I'm looking at my homie, my brother here, Marlon, in this 2.4 million, 4.1 million returning residents in the country, right? In the state of Illinois, my bad, in the state of Illinois, right? You gotta lean on the brothers that got it, you know what I'm saying? And so, this demand that our folks have been driving for decades, year after year after year. I can't go to a cookout without somebody bringing up reparations, whether it's as simple as 40 acres and a mule or the bag, right? We know that we are owed something. We can look in our communities and feel that something is wrong. And for me, I feel like the answer to that, the thing that's comprehensive enough to address everything from maternal health to mass incarceration, is reparations. And I welcome y'all to the People's Movement Assembly, and we're gonna pick this thing apart. We're gonna have deep conversations about what does rehabilitation look like in our communities? What does compensation need to look like in our communities? What is restitution? What does it look like to be in a restored Chicago? And then last but not least, how do we, when we win, because that's the thing, I believe that we will win. 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 And I know that our ancestors believe that we will win. And it is time for us to begin to think through something bolder, because the folks that's in the White House right now is thinking bold. They're attacking things like the Voting Rights Act. Literally drawing new maps so black elected officials can't even be in office no more. So whatever replaces this thing, I want that thing to have a clear and bold demand as it relates to the needs of black people. And for me, I feel like that is reparations. And so we're going to dig into that. We're going to unpack that. And yes, I would be wrong not to do a little bit of history, right? Just to bring the names of the ancestors who fought and led this movement. So the first person I'm going to bring up is Belinda Sutton, who in 1783, she was a formerly enslaved woman in Massachusetts who successfully petitioned the state for a pension paid from the estate of her slave owner. I'm also going to talk about in 1865, General Sherman's Special Field Order number 15, which is where we got the whole 40 acres and a mule from. Right? These were people's demands. They weren't just slogans or slang. This was somebody who demanded 40 acres and a mule. In the 1890s, it was advanced by Callie House and Isaiah Dickerson, which led the National Ex-Slave Mutual Relief Bounty and Pension Association. So that work was done in the 1890s. And then present day, a lot of our work stands on the shoulders of one giant, and her name was Queen Mother Moore. So if you don't, say her name. And so this is not nuanced. We are not here creating nothing new. This is something that has been in our DNA ever since we fought for our freedom and won. I want to say they freed us. They didn't free us. We fought for our freedom and won. And so with that being said, I am going to bring up my sister, Brooke, who is going to explain to us the People's Movement Assembly. And this is a connection between Chicago and the South, because the People's Movement Assembly model came out of Jackson, Mississippi. Am I correct? So can we welcome Brooke on up to the front to give us a history on the People's Movement Assembly?
Greetings, everyone from Mississippi, Jackson specific. I am a Chicagoan too. My family lived here for 25 years. South Side. All right. So Jackson People's Assembly is where I'm coming from. And we didn't start the People's Assembly. Lowndes County, Alabama began that work. And they didn't start it either. Black folks were meeting in barns and in fields and organizing long before that. They just didn't call it a People's Assembly. And before that, they were in Africa meeting up and doing all the things that we are doing today. Every program in Jackson that our organization has came out of a People's Assembly, because we believe that we don't have the answer, our community does, and so we don't move unless the community tells us to. Everything that we have, from our participatory budgeting to our community love fund, which helps folks that don't have, they just don't have it, right? To our violence prevention and intervention programs, everything was developed out of a People's Assembly, and the folks brought their issues and then developed the solutions. And so that's what this is, right? And so we harness people power and people ideas. And so before you go into breakouts, I want you to really think of what that looks like. And I know sometimes, because I used to be, well, I still am an educator of children. Children are amazing dreamers. They can switch that on immediately, and they have the best ideas. Adults sometimes have a hard time. We get bogged down, right? We have a hard time visioning the future, a hard time thinking of plans and ideas and what we want. So I want you to harness that inner child. I want you to think. I'm sure there's going to be crayons and markers and paper and all the things. And I want you to remember what it's like to dream. I want you to remember what it's like, because we deserve to dream. A people's assembly is exactly what it sounds like. People, usually community members, coming together to share ideas about where we live and what needs to change. Ultimately, we decide what we will do about it together. PAs are about finding our strength in numbers and the power we build when we work together to achieve common goals. The PA is a system of governance whereby people and organizations from diverse backgrounds can develop a shared political analysis, make decisions together based on that analysis, and move a shared agenda. So we don't just come to complain, guys. We come to develop plans of action and strategy to make them come to fruition.
Give Brooke one more hand for coming on up here. We've been trying to get Brooke out here to Chicago for a minute, so this is really like a family reunion. And with that in mind, there is no one organization or institution that can do this, right? We got to understand, I think part of this coming together is a leveling of ego and pride, and it is about what can we do together that we can't do, right, alone. And so in this moment, I want to shout out to all of the brilliant organizations that came together to make this happen. I want to shout out to M4BL, the Movement for Black Lives. I want to lift up Cabrini Green Legal Aid. I want to lift up Black Voters Matter. I want to lift up our comrades in struggle right here in Chicago, in Cobra. And we got to bring the creatives and the youth in the space. So shout out to Kumba Links for being in the space. And we understand that this is not just about policy, and it's not just about meetings, it's also service providers. And so we brought groups like Transform and Reentry Services into the space. Shout out to TRS. And there isn't much this brother does that I do not support. From his work from Community Renewal Society to the genius of his work at the Coalition to End Permanent Punishments, we got Marlon with NPP. And I'm gonna continue on because this brother, if it wasn't for this brother, I don't know if Equity and Transformation would have survived. In our first year, we had a brilliant idea. We want to start an organization led by formerly incarcerated people. We had no money. No money. And this young whippersnapper came into our office and interviewed, and I was like, I ain't got the money to hire you, but I really want you here. And his name was Alonzo Wahid. But you know how our people are resilient. If we want it, we gonna get it. And I got on the phone and started making calls, and I called my brother Brandon Sturdivant from Mass Live. And he said, I got you. And from that point on, Alonzo was he was employee at Equity and Transformation. So I want to thank you, Brandon, for being there then and being here now today. And then I want to thank all of the EAT staff. If y'all ain't heard from Greg, who in here heard from Greg? Shout out to Gregory Mann. Shout out to Day Day, all of the canvassers. Shout out to Eddie Eagle. Shout out to Glenn Taylor, who the first one to get here, the last one to leave. Nicole Laporte. Shout out to Maurice Woodard. I said Nicole Lurie. Nicole Lurie got a whole bus here from Joliet. Shout out to our Joliet organizer, Nicole Lurie. Carl, every single, if I go down, I'm gonna be here all day. You know who you are. Y'all are the magic. Y'all are what makes these rooms possible. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for continuing to trust Equity and Transformation. And thank you for leaning into this conversation around reparations at this particular time. This is so important in this particular moment. White nationalism is on the rise. And they're showing us how we need to cut up when we get in power. I want whoever to get in that office to start using that pen day one, just writing stuff off, sending our people home, Mumia, everybody coming home. creating funds for them, and satisfying reparations, right? Like, I want that kind of action out of whoever's gonna come up and support us. And so, to do this, I'm gonna also explain a little bit about some of the work that EAT does. And then it'll be a great introduction, a segue into the vision and peace. Equity and transformation is not waiting. We don't wait. We believe that our people needed guaranteed income, and so we built the thing and provided guaranteed income for our people. We believe that the easiest way to get our people to see the connection between their experience here in the country, in the US, and the experience of our people on the continent was to build a bridge. And so we built the Restore Fellowship, right? Where we bring formerly incarcerated people through an arc of healing connected to land, language, and lineage. What was our story before the harm of chattel slavery? And then we actually go on a pilgrimage to Benin every year with formerly incarcerated leaders. And they come back with an international politic. They find home, they find loved ones, they find friends. And that's actually how you build belonging. It isn't gonna necessarily come up through a slide deck like, this is Pan-Africanism, and that's not how it goes all the time. And so for our folks, we believe that they need to feel the alternative, right? And then believe in it. And so we do that work. And I'm gonna flip the script and also shout out to the videographers, my brother Ken Williams, who's gonna be doing, this man is magic. And the entire team at M4BL that are doing the digital comms. Y'all seen the ads, you heard the news things. I was in the car and heard the news and it was like, wow, that's a lot. Didn't know that was gonna pop up on WVON or WGCI, and it did. So shout out to all of the folks and the communicators in the room that help make this possible. And then I'm gonna segue to a visioning piece. And Ken, are we ready to go on that piece? Reese. We got 5 minutes. Okay, so we give them 5 minutes. What y'all wanna do for 5 minutes? What you wanna do? Okay, well, I'm gonna bring some folks up. I'm gonna ask a question, and I see some folks out there with some expressions on their face, so raise your hand if you wanna answer. And the question is, what does a healed Chicago look like? And I want you to hone in on your inner child. Like, what would they want the city of Chicago to look like? Anybody wanna answer that question? You ain't gotta go too in depth, but if you wanna give it a shot, come on and give it a try. Okay, come on up. Oh yeah, this mic don't go too far. We ain't got the budget for. Oh, and shout out to Alt Space, to Jordan, brother. Oh, thank you for making this another home for us. Here you go.
Hello. Oh yeah, my name is Cassie. Hi everybody. I think that Chicago would look really colorful. I would love to see all the buildings have actual like art on it and architecture that actually breathes life into the city. I'd love to see more parks that it foster collaboration between the kids, right? Not just places where they can run around, but maybe places where they can go and draw together and just talk and, you know, do kid stuff, I guess. And have a lot more community centers that are focused on professional development, focused on, mental health, having spaces where people can feel and discuss and it be safe, and actually have conversations about boundaries and really just expanding all the ways that we can grow spiritually. But definitely the color. I would like to not see these monotone buildings and these very boring architectural landscapes.
Thank you. Give Cassie a hand. See, that wasn't hard. Who else want to come up? We got one more. Okay, come on up, sis. Oh, Cabrini Green Legal. Okay, we got you.
Cabrini Green Legal Aid in the house. How y'all doing? Hey, my name Callie. So when I think about Chicago, I think about greatness, because this is a great city. 100%. 100%. Because they talk about we got violence in our city, but it's violence everywhere, you know? But the whole thing is, it's about us bringing more togetherness in our communities. That's what we need. We need to bring back the block parties. Yeah, you know what I mean? We need to bring back children being able to play outside safely without them ducking and dodging bullets. We need more rental control cap. Because the rent's been going up like crazy in Chicago. It's a great need for housing and employment in Chicago. So I feel like this, if we can get more things provided for us and resources, Chicago will be a better place. Thank you.
I say. Cassie, no, name again, what's her name? Callie, we had Cassie and Callie. We got one more to come in. You want to come on up? And we ain't gonna be able to hear. You got some folks that got here, and if you. What does a healed Chicago look like?
A healed Chicago looks like community, like us rebuilding the mental health facility over here on Central. Like us coming together, doing things like that. Mental health is a huge issue just in America, period, and I see a lot of dismissive faces and things like that. So Heal Chicago looks colorful, like she said. Heal Chicago looks like resources. Heal Chicago looks like family. I feel like that's what Heal Chicago looks like this. Looks like together. This is what we do, right? I haven't heard of the EAT program until I saw it on Facebook. A friend of mine is performing here today, and I am happy to know. My dad lives right in the building, the senior building right across the street, and I'm happy to find out what this place was. I never knew. I always saw the little art sign. I'm like, what is that? That's an old bank. What is that? And I thank God that I found this place, and I'm actually going to come here. More resources, more volunteering. Here, Chicago looks like volunteering, right? Because we can become our own resource, right? Right. So, well, that's what Heal Chicago looks like to me.
What's your name again?
Mickey. My name is Mickey.
Mickey. And thank you, Mickey. All right. Oh, right up front. Oh, I know you two. Hey, how are you?
My name is Shaquila. I feel like a healed Chicago starts with healed people. So if our people ain't healed, we can't heal Chicago. And healing the people will start with letting them be comfortable in their own home and being able to provide for their families so they get some type of peace of mind before they can move forward.
I say. Come on up. Is that Glenda? I can't read the whole tag from here. We're gonna do one more and then we're gonna pivot into the vision and P. Gloria? Okay, Gloria. Obviously, you might be from the South Side, because that sounded like that was great.
I didn't have a prepared thought, but I do honestly believe that in a healed Chicago, in my heart and mind, I always think that housing is a basic human right. And in a healed Chicago, people wouldn't be sleeping outside. They would be housed. We have legislation right in Springfield at this moment where they're fighting to try to get affordable housing in all the bougie neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? And it's just too much to sit up and talk about now, but know that those of us that want to get involved, we got ways to do that. You know what I'm saying? They got the mayors and the city planners and all of that fighting tooth and nail. And people like us need to come together because nobody should be sleeping outside and under the bridge. Housing should be a basic human right. And that's what I think Chicago, part of Chicago being healed would look like. There's a lot more, but that's part of it. Someone to go home and sleep in a safe place.
Yes, give it up to Gloria. Yes. So that's just a snippet of what y'all gonna get into in a minute. So if you didn't get a chance to speak right now, do not worry. This is all about y'all. You will get your voice heard today. And I was just thinking about the policy conversation. You sitting right next to a good person to talk about that man know how to work them halls. And so with that being said, we had the awesome opportunity to travel. Like I said, the Restore Fellowship, we go out to Benin every year. And last year we had, was 6 or 7 fellows, and we filmed a documentary. The first time we filmed a documentary, the second time. The first documentary is going on to win awards. Shout out to Ken. This brother just showed up with a camera. Let's talk about doing the work. He showed up with a camera. Next thing you know, we had a documentary. I was like, my God, I didn't even know we was capturing all of this. And so this is going to be a clip. It's also produced by, in partnership with Diaspora News Network, the sister Chanel, who's been a core and a solid supporter for the last year around the project, and they were able to capture some footage of us in Benin. So without further ado, I'll start the video.
I want to say celebrate yourselves for everything that you've been through, everything that you've accomplished, because we know that it wasn't easy.
One thing about a person is what you say can be a million things, but what you show is everything.
One of the things that I'm holding is how to return to a space at home and understand liberating people in the current climate that we're in.
I've learned some life-changing lessons here, some perspective-changing lessons, and I'm going to take what I've saw here, what I've heard here, what I felt here back to America and hopefully apply that new spirit and these new emotions that I carry today to further the movement in our society back home.
My name is Richard Wallace.
My name is Josiah Plummer.
My name is Tycee Bell.
My name is Manira Edens.
My name is Jaleesa Bonner.
My name is Ronald Marshall.
Again, we went and we shot the film, and it is available. We can make sure that it's available for folks in the room. And is there a download cue card or something like that that we can share the link with folks? We'll send a follow-up email with links to the documentary. And there was 2 so far. So, you know, I want to make sure that we stay true to the time commitment anyway. So we're going to go ahead and move into what we consider the breakout sessions, where we're going to go in depth around the pillars. Reese, quick question. Yeah, come on. Go ahead and break them out in the sessions. I don't know what you see.
I got it. Right. Did you already talk about the 5 pillars? How y'all doing? Maurice. So today we're gonna break out around the 5 pillars of reparation. Really 4, but I'm gonna explain 5. Who here is familiar with the 5 pillars of reparations? Okay, cool. So this is new for some of us. That's what we're here for, right? So we at EAT believe 5 pillars to satisfy reparation are restitution. That's kind of what that restore is, right? Restoring yourself and the harm to their full self before the harm was done, right? So that's that. If somebody break your glasses, saying sorry ain't enough. Like, nah, I need a new pair of glasses, man. That ain't gonna do it, right? So restitution. Brandon from Mass Live will be leading the breakout this afternoon around that and some practices there. We got rehabilitation, right? That's the mental health, the healing, healing those harms and those factors. TRS, Transformer Reentry Services, are gonna lead a breakout in this first session on that. We got compensation, that's the easy one, the bag, right? The cash, the money, the payments, no strings attached, right? You can't give me a bunch of link and say this is reparations. No, it's what you owe to me. I do what I want with it, right? So us at EAT will be leading the breakout session in this room on that. We got guarantee of non-repetition. That is policy and laws on file, so this is not done again. Marlon here, they just passed clean slate, impacted thousands of formerly incarcerated people in Illinois. He'll be leading the breakout in that. And then up front, we got an art installation by Kumba Links. Shout out them and the youth they bought out. That kind of is an exercise in working in satisfaction, right? Because until the person that's harmed say they're satisfied, reparations aren't met. You don't get to say, oh, here you go, and that's good enough. It's like, no, like I set the terms for when I'm satisfied for the harm that you've done. So those are the 5 pillars of reparation. That's what we'll be breaking down, learning about. It'll be 2 breakout sessions per hour. This first 45 minutes here, we're gonna talk about the compensation pillar here, and then we're gonna be talking about the rehabilitation center there. So I heard some of that about reopening the mental health care centers, right? Giving people access to free health. So Transformer Reentry Service will be talking about that there, and then we'll be talking about compensation up here. So I'm gonna give us what What y'all think we need? 3 minutes to decide to breakout room to shuffle. So yeah, if you need to hit the restroom real quick. And then like I said, for this first breakout, this next 45 minutes will be compensation here, rehabilitation there. And then the guys in the orange vests can help you if you need to rehear that, can also answer questions as well. Everybody good with that? Cool, so I'm gonna give us about 3 minutes, then we're gonna kick these breakout groups out. Yeah. We're gonna lead this compensation breakout pillar. We'll tell you a little bit about the work we do for about 5 minutes, but then truthfully, we're gonna spend a lot of this time in groups exercising what does Chicago look like when we've been compensated, right? I think too often we talk about tearing systems down, but we don't talk about what's there after we tear them down, right? So we're gonna spend a lot of today envisioning what does that future look like after we get a bag, right? What does our community look like? What it feel like? What we wearing? What the kids look like? So that'll be some of the exercise. But originally we're gonna get started talking about some of the work we've done around modeling reparations in the form of a guaranteed income. At Equity and Transformation, that Rich was saying earlier, we believe in transformative change, right? We're not waiting for nobody to come save us. We're gonna do it. We're gonna prove it works. And our way of doing that for compensation and reparations was making a guaranteed income program that we led ourselves. That program is known as the Chicago Future Fund. Could we pass some of the books around? So we did 2 rounds of the Chicago Future Fund. What that was $500 a month, no strings attached for Black formerly incarcerated people on the west and south side. So 130 people over about 2 years, $500 a month. And what did that prove? It works, right? Matt is handing out some books now. This the study we released. It showed, right, the changes, what it does, right? It's not just people going out and having a good time with it. And so what if it is, right? And that helps with mental health. Poor people need to have fun too, right? Like, not just be poor and die. So we did the Chicago Future Fund, $500 a month. And the way we want that work to influence, right, if anybody remembers, Chicago did a form of the guaranteed income a couple years ago, the Promise Pilot. They copied that from us, right? So we were able to have our research team on the inside of that building it out. Just last year, Cook County announced the guaranteed income program for about $7.8 million. That's a permanent program. That was built from this program that we started, right, the Chicago Future Fund. And that's how we want to do it, right? We build it, we show it works, we prove it, we got the research and the study, now y'all pay for it, right? Because y'all are the ones that did these harms, y'all are the ones who did the war on drugs and then came back, and now you're making billions of dollars off of weed and got a whole industry that you're Xing people out of, right? So that's kind of some of our work around guaranteed income and kind of how we move. Matt, I'm sorry I had you walk off right before I passed it to you. Do you want to add anything before we get into the groups? Okay, you want to lead the outro? Want to do the outro?
I can definitely do the outro.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you do this.
I will say one thing that's like, one of the most important things about today is that, well, I'm sorry, I should introduce myself. I'm Matthew Harvey. I'm Matthew Harvey. I'm a research and communications assistant at Equity and Transformation. One of the main things we wanted to bring people here today to do is to do that visioning, but help demystify the idea of reparations. A lot of it is thought of as pie in the sky, so when we're thinking about this, we're talking about it, a lot of it sounds like they just giving people money. Yeah. The truth of the matter is that this does happen in other scenarios, it don't happen with us. You know, so what I really want to do today is open up our minds to the idea that reparations is possible. That's what's necessary to do this visioning exercise. You gotta get rid of the idea that reparations can't happen, this ain't gonna happen. All right. So I just wanted to go into it, orienting y'all with that, but I'm excited to see how it goes.
Cool.
We're often told that that money can't just be given to us. You have to do something else for that money. You have to do something else for that money. And the truth of the matter is, what we know is that when the Bears Stadium get built, it ain't coming out the billionaire owner pockets. It's coming out of our pockets. They're giving them our money. They're just handing it to them. So why can't you get some of that money? right? So when we're talking about compensation, that's what we're talking about, us getting some of that money. So what I want you to discuss now is what are the problems that compensation will solve in your life, right? What could a guarantee of income, that's what we're discussing, guaranteed income, guaranteed cash in your pockets. What issues would that solve and heal in your life? Can we get a conversation going around that? So yeah. And we got about, I think, 10 minutes before we shift. Yeah. And we're going, I'll say 5 minutes to talk, and then we do a report back for the last 5 minutes. All right? 5 more minutes to talk, we do a report back in the last 5 minutes. I wanted to ask if y'all got anything from that conversation. Did you get to talk about something that you maybe haven't gotten to talk about at length? That maybe you got to say something that you didn't get to think about or something that you didn't get to say before. Conversation went well. We got people ready to report back. All right, we're going to start here. All right, y'all. Y'all was just looking at me crazy. I'm saying talking. I'm finna go through the whole thing. Y'all can't hear me.
Can I put this somewhere? Where do I put this?
Oh, y'all wrote this. Okay. I can hold it up, or I can stick it up.
Oh, appreciate it. Should I take this?
Oh, look. Shit, you gotta
use the mic. Don't let me grab
Yeah. No, go ahead. Come use the mic. Go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon. All right, how's it going, everybody? My name is Adonis. I'm the representative of Group 1. So the first question that we all were asked is, what is a headline that the newspapers will report after Chicago's black community gets its reparations that we certainly deserve? So seemed like we had a little issue of coming to consensus of what the headline would say, but I will just read a little bit of the things that a couple of us have said in our breakout session. So firstly, one thing that mainly came up was ownership. As far as, I want to answer the second question first, as far as what it would look like to get that money in our pocket every month. Definitely we want to be able to have a situation where this money actually does a good service for us, rather than just being something that we get every month. And someone also mentioned that getting it every month should have interest, so that it's not just 500. It starts at 500 and then it raises from there. Not exactly sure what anybody who's a part of this, pilot program thinks about that, or if y'all felt that 500 straight would be fine, but you already know we got to adjust for inflation. So I do believe that the idea that our sister here gave about putting interest on that 500 would be actually very beneficial for us all. Also, as far as different things we could do with the money together collectively is, one of the members of our community mentioned that we could put that money towards a mutual aid of some sort, a mutual aid fund for the community, so that there are things that we can see in our community that we haven't seen before. On a personal level, I mentioned that I personally could do a lot with $500 simply as a person that has experienced homelessness. Anybody else experienced homelessness before? One of those things that could have been prevented is that last little bit of money, like just in case you have to provide for like a family emergency or something that your child needs. That extra $500 could supplement for that, so that you don't have to cut into your funding for rent, which is some things that I've had to do and have had to suffer from that. As far as the headline, and this is what I'll say, and then I'll get out of you guys' hair. One thing that I would see is that the headline can say something like, there's a complete lack of boarded up houses in Chicago's South Side and Chicago's West Side. So no more, on the way over here, there will be no more seeing of those factories. We could put our money together to either send some lawyers against the owners of those buildings because they have to be held accountable for leaving those eyesores in our community, or we can figure out how we can buy those buildings ourselves, or we could do something beautiful, artwork, like paint those buildings and make it look just nicer than they look currently. With that being said, thank you for your time, and I'll pass the mic back to Brother Matthew.
Sure. All right, we're going to move over to Group 2. Y'all Group 2, right? Y'all 3? Y'all right here, so y'all can come up. Who's y'all's report back person? You ready? All right. So let us know what your headline looking like. Let us know what y'all discussing, y'all.
Hey y'all, the headline, oh, she's right there, period, thank you. What is it? So we didn't think of a name for the headline, but, oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Can y'all hear me in the back? Okay. So for like the headline, like I didn't pitch it to the group, but I'm gonna pitch it now. Like basically Soul and Sound of Black Chicago. And then we kind of like the thing that we talked about, which made me think of that title, was kind of the fact that we talked about community care, resources, like what the other group mentioned, like the idea of mutual aid, like having each other's backs in that sense. And then like collective action, like one of our group members was talking about the fact of like, we should be able to like, one, know what's happening in our community and what's going on with our community members, and also like taking action and help out where we can. And then we also talked about like collective accountability with love. Like somebody should be able to say like, hey, yo, you're doing this thing and that's not okay. Like it's not good for you. It's not good for me to see you do that. And out of love, like I'm telling you, you need to stop that. We also talked about generational wealth and sustainability. Like, what does it mean for us to like take up space? And like that kind of led into the conversation of like compensation and like why is that healing? And we talked about the fact that like it's humanizing. Like systemically and historically speaking, Black communities have been disenfranchised. So the idea of us taking the chance to like be able to breathe because we know we have wiggle room with finances, that's humanizing. But that also reminds us that like we don't have to constantly overwork ourselves to get what we're owed in the first place. But yeah.
Appreciate you. All right, that humanizing part is important. I wanted to lift that up because I don't know if y'all flipped through the booklet that we handed out yet, but it shows you a lot of what we found when we did guaranteed income. We're not just talking about something that's imaginary. We're talking about something that we actually did in this neighborhood. It's people here right now walking around that receive just cash in their pocket for nothing. And in that booklet, you'll hear about how that brought them into just community. It brought them into just being a person instead of being constantly on this hamster wheel. So if you get a chance, look at that booklet. If y'all want to come on up. Well, we don't have time to right now, but that's why we handed the booklet out. But if you get a chance, well, y'all will have a chance. We have pledge cards. We're pushing to make that $500 a month. Guaranteed income, we're trying to make it statewide. So we're pushing legislation currently to move this from something that we did ourselves, to something that the state is running to make sure that all of us get that money, right? So make sure you go up to the eat table, fill out one of them cards to say that you support reparations, you support compensation in a form of guaranteed income, right? Y'all ready? Group, this is the new group 3. Come on. There you go.
Hello, we're group number 4. I'm Patricia. There was a lot to unpack there, but I was really great. I felt really good in hearing the ideas of everybody. But what a headline would look like, because we couldn't pare it down to one, it would say, natural state of being, we take our power back. If you do not have reparations on the table, you do not have our vote. If we don't get what we need, we will secede. Reparations now. That's our headline, for number 1. And then the second part about compensation, it was really difficult because, you know, some people said they couldn't even imagine a number. How can you pay us back? So what that devolved into was feelings of what some of the things that could be done for reparations, and I'll be real quick. One of our, I'll call him one of our brothers, said, Black ownership. He liked to see the stores and industries in the Black community. He would like to see Black people own those. Another Mary said she liked to see more love and togetherness and not backbiting anymore. She wants the deletion of jealousy and envy out of our communities. Taisha said she wants to see us rise up more, taking care of each other, knocking on each other's door to see how we're doing. Self-love promotion, that's what she'd like to see in all of our community bases. There was a lack of education, one of our members said. Melinda would like to see Black Chicago own the land and air in perpetuity. With the rise of all the data centers that are going up, She doesn't want us to be exploited in our electricities and all of that, so she would like to see us own our land and air in perpetuity. India would like to see more community control over the land, water, and air in our communities. Angela said she'd like to see mentorship from high school to college. I assume she's going to college and she's scared now. She'd like to see more mentorship so she's not coming out of college with a lot of debt. And then we have, David said he'd like to see politicians give a fair share of the resources, money, land, and all of that to all the citizens, and he'd like to see them held accountable and keep their word. We have 2 left. Durrell would like a whole reparations deal. Restoration, political, education, health, wealth, restoration and justice. And Patty said she'd like us to go door to door, letting each other know we love one another, we're there to support them. She wants the poor, working class, and middle class to come together so that we all can heal the trauma together. And I'd love to see a re-educated Black Chicago that is versed in politics, world history, self-knowledge, wealth, financially sound. Mating is when we pick our partners and family. I like us to make really more loving, better decisions. And I like to see us have our own banks, hospitals. I like to see us have our own distribution centers, a portion of the ports on the east and west coast. I like for us to have ownership of our patents, all of our inventions, our music, all of that. And I'll wrap up. Thank you.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. See, that was real. It was like some dreaming. I loved hearing that. We got one more group. Y'all ready? Y'all go. After this report back, we're going to come back together, and we got a little performance coming up. All right. There you go. You got it. You want me to hold this for you? Gotcha.
Hey everybody, I'm back, Callie. So I was with group 2, and so the name of our theme is Chicago Dares to Imagine. And that is what we thought about when we talk about receiving reparations, you know. And so we thought about how can we protect and structuralize and create guidelines for our reparations, meaning how can we stop the government from coming in, finding a way to disrupt and stop us from getting reparations. We have to figure out ways to protect this reparation payout so we can continue getting it out, continue getting it without somebody coming in and disrupting. That was the first point. It's up there? Can you hear me? Okay, all right, thanks. So the second one is invest in reparations payouts. It said grow your reparations, like invest in housing. A lot of people want to invest in properties, buying properties. Some people want to be homeowners. These are great ways to create generational wealth. These things you can leave to your families as you get older. So I think that's a great way to use your reparations. Also, create, like if you got a small child or grandchild or something like that, you start opening up them a type of college fund. You know, a college account when like they 4 years old. So by the time they get 18, 21, they get, I'm bad with mics. I don't usually use them. So yeah, like when they 18 or 21, they'll be able, if they want to go to college, they can. They don't have to worry about where the money's going to come from. Or yeah, thank God for scholarships, but scholarships are not always guaranteed. But that funding is that you put to the side when that child was a child. And so also, I wanted to talk about our mindset. A brother brought up how back in the day, it was about decolonizing and about the Jim Crow state, how they had black people go against black people. So we gotta re-educate ourselves and unlearn the things that we learned back in the day and learn how to program our way of thinking differently.
It's time we had some beautiful conversations over here. I feel good about it. I feel good about what we discussed. And most importantly, I feel like we could take away from these conversations a renewed idea of what reparations can be. A renewed understanding that reparations is possible, and it is something that we should be thinking about together as a community. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna come back together as a large group. All right, go ahead. Hand off to Reese.
Cool. How y'all like that breakout? Okay, so when we get this bag, what we gonna do? We gonna be good? Okay, so we got some performances coming up in a little bit. A local artist, her name is K Love. She's dope. I think she's getting prepped and ready to go. But before we go, how y'all feel about this space here at All Space? Yeah. It's dope, right? It's beautiful. So real quick, I'm putting them on the spot. I'm gonna bring up the actual founder of the space. His name Jordan, so he can talk about how All Space came together, how y'all can donate, keep this door open, support that black man, and all those beautiful things. Nonetheless, Jordan, we appreciate you, brother. Come on down.
We need him at every activation. That's all I gotta say, first and foremost. But one, I just want to say thank you all for coming out today. What I really just want to say is that this space is a vision realized. My business partner, John Ville, and I started this organization in 2019. We were down the street, 5339 West Lake Street, we were renting out, and we realized that in order for us to make real change in this community, we need to have stake. For us, stake is ownership. Ownership is stake because now we're responsible, we're held accountable, but most importantly, we're allowed to have choices that can be made that are bigger than ourselves. All of you are sitting in that. All of you are standing in that. When we thought about who we could be as an organization, the three pillars we stood up on were art, faith, and community. You are all a part of our community. And it's important for us to make space for each other. So as we're talking about reparations, as we're talking about movement and organization, it ultimately is about choice. We have been denied choice. And so today we're here talking about the choices that we deserve to be able to make as a people. But not just as a people, but as a country, as a nation, and as a world. And so I'm grateful for you all to, just bless this space with us. And like he said, we are open for other reservations so people can rent out this space with us. My website is altspaceschicago.com. I'm Jordan. Y'all probably been seeing me running around, doing a lot of stuff, but it is a blessing to host you all here today, so thank you.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Jordan. Yeah, appreciate that, brother, man. Appreciate that, brother. So, if y'all haven't been to the front yet, we got some tables up there, information with organizations that's doing this work right now that you could get plugged in and stay activated after today. Definitely go to the E-table, sign up with us. We want to hear from you some more. And then also, Kumba Links, they got an art installation up there. Go check it out. Go make some art. Go interact with that space. And there's also a photo booth we just rolled out. So take some pictures, get to know somebody in here, take some pictures. As we wait for K Love to perform, I'm going to bring up another performer. We call him the minister around here. We can't have no event without him taking the mic. So, without further ado, the minister, the heart and soul of equity and transformation, Greg Mann, come give us a couple words.
How you doing? I say, how you doing? Listen, do y'all know that y'all are part of history right here? See, I get excited because what we're doing, we're setting precedents. This is historic. We'll be the first state in the country to have guaranteed income. We'll be the first state in the country to have guaranteed income. To repair decades and decades of harm. When I say mass incarceration, that was the deliberate act to lock up black and brown men. You lock them up for the same thing you have legalized, which we call the cannabis, the weed dispensaries, which is one of the fastest growing sectors in Illinois. Billions and billions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenue. When we say reparation, we're not asking for no handout. When we say guaranteed income, we're not asking for no handout. This money comes from the R3 funds that come through the cannabis industry. Hundreds of millions of dollars goes through the R3 funds. Why can't that money be used to repair the harm that was deliberately done to our people? I like excitement. I like folks to feel while you're here. Do you feel it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Act like you want it then. Act like you want it. You're here for a purpose. And see, folks think that guaranteed income is all about just the money. It's about more than that. My director, Richard Wallace, told you it's 5 pillars. Compensation, restitution, rehabilitation, satisfaction, and guaranteed non-repetition. We want all that. Listen, I'm not going to stay up here all day. I just want y'all to be excited about this. Be excited about this. Be engaged. Hit every booth you can. Learn what's going on. Be a part of everything you can be a part of. Stay in the loop. Stay in the loop. Stay in the loop. Then you know what's going on. The Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. The Bible, God's words say, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Well, you'll never say that we were not here giving you this knowledge. You'll never be able to say that you didn't know nothing about this. So either you're in the fight or you're not in the fight. The Bible says, God said, I'd rather for you to be hot or cold than lukewarm. He said, I will spit you out of my mouth. You can't straddle the fence. You got to be on one side or the other. You got to choose, either you're going to fight or you're going to lay down. I'm a fighter. And I'm not just fighting for me. Kevin, stand up. I'm fighting for my baby.
And that's why we call him the minister, y'all. He bring that energy, he bring that life. So shout out the minister, man. He knocking doors, he been doing this a long time. Like I said, he is the heart and soul of equity and transformation. I'm gonna just be honest, if y'all ain't noticed, I'm killing a little time waiting on this artist. But she gonna come shut it down, so it's gonna be worthwhile. So while we got a few minutes, I know we've been talking a lot, giving a lot of information. Any questions, comments, I can take a couple while we wait the time in between the artists getting here. Come on up, Tiny. And introduce yourself, of course.
My name is Patricia Krause. I'm with East also. In our meeting, we spoke and talking about what y'all was talking about, but we was talking about healing. We need to heal our kids. Our kids need to be healed. They made us, first we could go to work, like after our kids got big enough. Now they too much, you gotta go to work. So who raising them? The other kids, the block, you know what I'm saying? And then when we see somebody don't have nothing, we have to help each other. We had to help us. My grandson, 14 years old, he don't know how to count his money. They can't sign their name no more. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be a community in our house, outside our house. Even though we say some parents don't want to hear what we got to say. Oh, they didn't do nothing. But if we don't help each other, we see somebody ain't got nothing to eat, feed them. You need somewhere to lay down there? I got nothing big. You can lay down here today, let somebody else do it tomorrow. But if we don't help each other down here, it don't make no sense to it ain't gonna work good up there. We have to help each other and love each other.
That's a bar. That's a bar. Thank you, Tiny. And what she said, if you can't help each other while we down here, we ain't gonna never get up here. And if y'all didn't hear that, so appreciate you, Tiny. Thank you, thank you. Any other questions, comments while we got some time? Come on up, brother. If you got one, just come on up here. I'm gonna line you up.
Thank you. I just want to say that this is a beautiful event, and I'm so appreciative to be able to be a part of it. I hope that the work that Equity and Transformation and others are doing around reparations and around the decriminalized cannabis industry can grow, because we're still seeing the criminalization of community members for using and providing hard and opiates and other things in the community. And we have a lot of these nonprofits that are disciplining our community members into hating drug users and hating folks that are involved in informal markets and informal economies. And that's what drives cycles of violence. And I also hope that in the rehabilitation breakout, we're talking about the need for employment and other services and things that folks need. And I hope that conversations around how to obtain employment can continue, because we really need labor market demand-side interventions. We have interventions to help folks get skills on the supply side of the labor market, but on the demand side, in terms of employers, there's nothing that government or public policy officials are doing to force them to hire our people. We had a good discussion about supported education and making education more accessible for disabled folks. We could have supported employment and accommodations in employment if we forced the private sector to act better. So we need to stop letting these devils determine our people's lives and destiny in the economic sector, in the private sector, and everywhere else. Thank you.
I say. All right. Uh-oh, be careful. Watch out now. Okay, so shout out to all of y'all for being here. Again, I want to lift up Alt Space. Where's that little booklet at? I want to lift up M4BL, Coalition to End Permanent Punishment. West Side residents. Shout out to the West Side of Chicago. Shout out to the South Side of Chicago. Y'all was coming. Y'all real loud. Where the East Side at? Where the North Side at? North Pole in the building? Okay. Hey, so, at Equity and Transformation, we believe in educate and celebrate. Man, this piece around reparations ain't gotta be mundane. It ain't gotta be a lecture. We feel reparations. We know what it feels like to be in the absence of reparations. And so it's a natural calling for us to do this. And before I got into this work, I was a poet and an artist in the city of Chicago. And I used to travel all around the city following specific poets. First poet that I was introduced to was a brother named Red Storm. Y'all know who Red Storm is? Okay. Red Storm, I used to go, man, I go to the open mic, Red Storm would go, and I'd be like, oh man, I get back in my room and write a few poems and then try to open up at the next open mic. And I also followed a brother named Momentum. Okay, I met Momentum. And then I met Emerald. Right, y'all know, who knows Emerald? Okay, for y'all know Emerald. And then one day I was sitting in the room and a sister named K-Love got on stage. And when K-Love got on stage, it was complete silence. You could hear every syllable, every noun, every word that was coming. And it felt like church. You know what I mean? Like when the feeling of the Holy Ghost, you feel like your spirit, your core. There's something I was connected to that I hadn't been connected to before. And I said, when we were doing the planning for this event, I said, we gotta have some art. Somebody said we gotta have some art. And I immediately said, K-Love. And I said, why? Because K-Love is a part of this city. She breathes Chicago. And so she already understands the assignment before she even got to this door. And so I'm so grateful that this sister was able to come here today to meet you all in this particular moment in history, in this particular moment in Chicago, in a particular moment where we are defining, right, what a healed Chicago will look like. We are defining from our own perspective what reparations must consist of. And I believe that this sister is going to take us to the place we need to go to continue the vision and do that work. So without further ado, I welcome my sister, my comrade, K-Love. It's you.
My goodness, what an introduction. I am so grateful and honored to be before y'all. Hey, y'all. If you feel good, say I feel good. If you're going to keep doing this work, say I'm going to keep doing this work. My name is K Love the Poet. I bring y'all greetings originally from the south side of Chicago. But my mama definitely is a proud product of the mighty, mighty west side of Chicago. And I, above all things that I am a community servant. We all have a responsibility in reform and revolution as it pertains to our people, and everybody has a part to play. And my part just so happens to be writing the poetry that might inspire you to continue to do the movement. And I'm so honored to give y'all that. So I'm gonna do a little poetry for y'all today. Is that all right? All right, if you ain't never heard poetry before, I like when people treat my poetry like a Southern Black Baptist church. If the pastor say something that you feel, you understand, you respect what you do. Amen, say that. Wave your hands in the air. Give me some energy back. If I'm saying something you connect with, you could give me some snaps. Let me see y'all do this. Snaps. If you in tune with the hip hop culture and you know what a bar is and you hear a bar, you can yell out bars. Somebody say bars. I like it when my ladies reach up in the air and grab nothing and be like, yes. And this is all just to let me know I'm connecting with y'all, because if I ain't connecting with y'all, I ain't even supposed to be right here. All right, so all poetry based on a true story. I'll take a bruised and battered brother. I'll take a bruised and battered brother. In fact, I love a lacerated lover. Branded, but candid about how he handled the hand he was handed. I'm talking about the type that done dealt with some hard issues. Type of brother fall down, get up, wipe his tears with scar tissue. I need a brother that survived some shit. One that's lasted through whips, more lashes than chicks. I need a God equipped with gashes, scratches, and nicks, but still mixed with magic and gifts. A king that can cope with the contusions from his confusion. A brother that knows how to lose and not lose him in the process. One that knows how to fail. One that's taking L's, probably smoked some too. The type that's made well. A dude that's made do through the furnace. Got lesions from learning that earned him some wisdom. Yeah, I'll take the tatter type. That's battled life and death within himself. His wealth be wealth of knowledge. You can call his cuts college, because they taught what them textbooks don't teach. I love a brother not so far removed from the streets. One that's danced with defeat and his footwork is still imprinted in the pavement. One who ain't afraid to tell me where the pain went. One that survived his enslavement. I'd be like, yo, give me the one who made it. Baby, I love a reformed thug with warm hugs. Yes. And pierced skin, fierce men who made it through. Baby, I love your freckles and faded tattoos. I keep a jar of shea butter just for you, because I believe in building with brothers with blisters. And as a woman, check my circle. I only surround myself with other sisters that have seen life from all its angles. I'm talking bruises and bangles, draped in scrapes, but still out here cloaked in capes. Whose hurts don't hurt no more, because they've healed and been healed before. Been through the ringer and zinga. Warrior women who got stories on living from dust to dope. Hustle to hope, goddesses, often on a human trip, in tune with grit and grime, groomed through wit and time, corns on their feet just like mine, like mines, the keepers of cocoa butter for cuts to come. I hang around the type of women that'll tell you straight up that they've looked dumb for love a time or two. I'm talking about the type of women that'll tell you straight up what they've been through and seem to revisit sometimes. I'm talking about the type of women with stretch marks on their bellies and thighs from either giving life or just living life. Baby, these are the signs. I hang around moon mamas who suffer through womb traumas, mastectomies, and more, still out here soaring with their swords. See me, I need friends with flaws. I'll take my mentors more than mistakes, laced with lessons, still questioning life, because ain't nobody always been right. So you could save your persona of perfection for playtime with tots. I'm a grown-ass woman. I know life done thrown some rocks, so please tell me about that time your throne was rocked and your crown almost fell off. Tell me about that time you were lost, how you survived your hell. Tell me about that light that lit your path so well. Do tell about those relationships that set sail and fail. See me, I hang around humans. People with pimples and problems who ain't afraid to rock them. You can catch them on any given day. They be out here walking through Gotham like, you wanna know how I got these scars? Villains turn victors, cause they're still standing. Works of art, unapologetic about their aesthetics, cause we done been through it all, and we be each other's band-aids till we get better. See, beneath the pus, we can laugh, pick our scabs together, call me when your stitches itch. I'm unbothered by your blemishes. They could never diminish your dope, because every time you get the courage to show the world your gory glory, you administer hope. And what if stars are really just scars on a body of a melanated sky, placed there by God, by design, to remind you of that time you survived when you literally thought you would die? Never be ashamed of your scars, for they made you exactly who you are. Thank you. Praise, 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 praise. I think I have time for one more piece for you guys. So for 20-something years in the city of Chicago, I did youth development work. I was affectionately named the mother of the South Side for Chicago's youth and my mentoring efforts. I started a mentoring organization that I ran all out of pocket for 10 years, no government assistance, using poetry and hip hop to teach character development and community activism. And so all around the city and beyond, I'm known as Mama K Love. But when I would go into those schools, I noticed something was missing. And not working for the public school system, I was always able to give what was needed. The name of this piece is called Hug Life. She been touched, but never been touched. She been felt up, but never been filled up. And him, yeah, everybody knows him. Drugs and guns, he been known for holding, but it was seldom that anybody ever held them. Born into harm's way. I caught them both standing in a hallway, and who would have thought my standard greeting would turn into a supernatural feeding for some souls that hadn't eaten truth. These youth are in need of a goddess touch, and I'm knowing that God is touch. So I administer like two pastors. When I clasp her, I give her something that the school officials are prohibited to. See, ain't no policies or procedures for what my spirit could do. So when I'm in their presence, I get present. I center myself with love. I pull them into the center of my chest, and I heal them with a simple hug. And I know it might sound crazy to the skeptic, but I see every young person like a therapy session. I see every young girl placed in my path like the daughter of Esther. And even though her life's been hard, I know that she's still precious in the sight of God, and it's my obligation to bless her. With my love, I could catch her. No longer a routine gesture. When I wrap my arms around this little girl, I hold her as if it's just her. I rub her back, to remove the residue from the molester that molested her, the mother that didn't believe her, the daddy that left her. I put my heart on her to loosen what's hard in her, to loosen the grip of regret from her last sex partner who only got hard in her. He broke the heart in her. He ran and hid, so I hugged that little girl like my granny did. I'm not afraid to grab a kid. I squeezed the tea off a thug's life, screaming hug life. I see the young men shaking up gang signs on the block because they ain't never been hugged right or touched right. I tell them, come here, young man. Let me show you what love is like. I know your mama never swaddled you. You went from a bottle to a bottle or two. The cops, the ops, the thoughts steady trying to swallow you. Come here. Let me coddle you. Put this God on you. Get close in. I know you smoke the weed, but let me give you a dose of this oxytocin. It feel good, don't it? It'll heal the whole hood, won't it? The whole hood wants it, but won't admit it. We've been more conditioned to ask to hit it than to ask for a hug. But I've watched and I've watched the meanest of mugs come clean off of thugs with these limbs. I eased them into a place that erased mistakes, and I say, for God's sakes, I'm so pleased to meet a God. And son, I know you're in need of a charge, and I just want to let you know, Mama K Love, I got defibrillator on deck. I'm a medical tech with my arms stretched. I envelop black males like dark news from dark hues. I say, come here, son. I got some rhythm for your blues. And I know you're into hip hop. I know you're into hip hop, but I swear to God, you ain't never been rapped like this. Let me put you in this cipher. 360 degrees of pure queendom, keep calm. I got the remedy to restore you. And I tell the young ladies, little sister, I'm here for you. And yeah, those some nice shoes and that's a nice purse, but I swear to God, you ain't never had a clutch like this. Or been touched by bliss, come get engulfed. I'll cradle you till comatose, a heavenly harness. And be honest, for those few seconds that I hugged you, you felt perfect peace. You fit perfectly inside these shoulders. Come and rest, my little soldiers. I will hold you down. See, I hug like I know what city I live in. I hug like I've been watching the news. I know what they do to my kin. I hug like I know what it's like to lose one of my students. So I know the reality that after today, I could never see you again. That's why when I hug you, I be hugging like I'm trying to seep through your skin. Like I need to touch your soul. Like I know I'm enfolding gold. I hug like I'm holding on for dear life. I hug like I know I'm holding on to a dear life. I hug like I no longer see hugging as a passing practice. I actually see hugging as spiritually divine. I'm out here trying to heal myself and all of you, one hug at a time. Thank you. Oh my God. I am so grateful and honored to be before y'all. Every time I'm called back to the city to do this work, I'm so grateful. A few years ago, I relocated, I got married. I just celebrated 2 years of marriage. I'm currently living in Baltimore, Maryland. My husband is in the recovery sector. We have 2 recovery homes for men recovering from drug and alcoholism. So wherever I'm at, the fight continues, the work continues. I'm proud of all of you. Continue to do this work. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Peace.
Indeed, comrade. Thank you for blessing us today. Indeed. Thank you for coming out. Let's give it up one more time for K-Love. Oh, wait, real quick. K-Love, how can they find you? Okay, at K-Love the Poet on Instagram, if y'all want to look for most of the poetry is up there. And then also if you Google or YouTube search K-Love the Poet, you can find some of those poems. Okay, I'm gonna hand it over. So one more time for K-Love, let's keep the energy high. And thinking about, there were so many visuals throughout those poems, whether it be the hugs, like the clutch, and when we're doing this visioning work into the next session, right, the next session that we're about to get into, we need to vision. We need to be as creative as possible. Sometimes we dream within containers. Don't dream within containers. Imagine there are no containers in this next piece, right? I liked how the first sister that came up, I think her name was Cassie, who talked about the colorful homes throughout the community, right? So let's dream vividly, let's dream bold. I'm gonna bring up my brother Maurice, who's gonna break us out into the final breakout session and then bring us throughout the rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Rich. All right, y'all, how we feeling? How we feeling? Oh, I'm gonna say, dang, give me some, dang. Okay. So earlier, we went through compensation over here and rehabilitation over there, right? We got satisfaction at the front. It's a continuous exhibit, so that's our 3 pillars, right? We got 2 more to break down. So for this next session, over here, we're gonna be talking about rehabilitation. My boy Brandon from Mass Lib is gonna lead us through an exercise there. Restitution, that's my fault, typo. Brandon gonna come up here and do an exercise about restitution, restoring, and healing. And then over there, Marlon is gonna lead a session around guarantees of non-repetition, talking some about the bill they just passed, Clean Slate, that's impacting thousands of formerly incarcerated Illinoisans. Definitely tap in. It's a way it's impacting your family or somebody you know if you're in this room, I guarantee. So we're going to go ahead and make that transition, but also take care of yourself while you take that transition. It's bathrooms right here. It's bathrooms in the front. We got snacks and waters right there lined up. So let's take about 3-4 minutes as we transition, pick which breakout you want to go to, and then we'll get started. Everybody good with that? Thank y'all. Appreciate you.
All I was going to say was just community empowerment. Like, it's good to see, like, for Black people to come together as a community, you know, where we're actually trying to work towards a common goal instead of, like, being against one another. We're actually coming together to, like, achieve that, even if that's slowly but surely. But we still do have to, like, I do know that they keep on saying that we got to, like, work towards it actively. Like, it can't just be, like, a one-and-done thing. Like, there's just something that we got to, like, live, eat, and breathe type deal, so.
All right, thank you for that. I heard something else over here. Being here for the first time and listening to all the speakers. Okay. All right, so with that being said, in case you all don't know me, my name is Alonzo Waheed. I'm the Policy and Legislative Director with Equity and Transformation, East Chicago. I was that guy that Rich was talking about in the beginning, right? Actually, we are those individuals that Rich was talking about in the beginning. I'm Alonzo, this is Brandon. And then I'm about to pass this to Brandon so he can tell you all, you know, why we're in this space and why this is so important. And that's why we was telling everybody, hey, the hottest spot, you need to get over here, all right? Because what we're about to do and what we're about to share is pivotal, okay? So without further ado, here's Brandon.
Hey, what's good, family? Brandon Sturdivant from Oakland. Got off a flight this morning to be here. Always wanting to, willing to, excited to support my family at EAT. And I just want to name, like, what y'all doing right now, it ain't happening everywhere, right? A bunch of particularly Black folks sliding together talking about reparations. It's dope. We're about to get into some practice. There's a lot of conversations, and what we're up to is actually about being in our bodies and reclaiming ourselves from the inside out. Can you actually, that is just a little too loud for us to do this. So, reparations. We talked about the 5 points. One of those is restitution, right? Restitution is about restoring us to our former state. Restoring, they say victims, we say survivors. Restoring survivors to their former state. You can restore somebody by giving them their land back. We need that. You can restore somebody by giving our resources back. The shit that was taken from us in the first place. We need that. We deserve that. There's also something else, though, that honestly can't be restored by systems, and that's our culture, our lineage, our sense of safety. Those are things that the transatlantic slave trade, slavery, Jim Crow, black codes, were on drugs, took shit from us that they can never return. And so it's our job to return it to ourselves from the inside out. And we can't do that. So I want to say two things, and then I literally just want to jump right into practice. Number one is I am a co-founder, co-leader of an organization called Mass Liberation Network. We believe that organizing and embodiment have to go together. What do I mean by embodiment? Embodiment means that I am aligned between what I think, what I believe to be true, and how I act in the world. We live in a society with systems, structures, policing, prisons that disembody us. By disembody, I mean don't feel anything. Just accept what's happening to you. The only way you can oppress is if you are disembodied. The only way you can accept oppression is if you are disembodied. As we start to come into alignment with ourselves, our thoughts, right, our beliefs and our actions in the world, and literally our physical bodies, all this shit changes. That's our contention at Mass Live Network, and that's how we communicate, rock with, support, eat. Is there anything before we jump into this practice that you want to share about your experience?
So a lot of people that's in the room right now, you all know me, right? That's cool. It's some of you all that don't know me. And I give, I guess they call them alerts or warnings, that some of what I'm about to talk about could be triggering, right? What Brandon lifted up, that I'm about to put into words that individuals may be able to understand a little bit more, is that I've been carrying a lot of trauma because I was desensitized to my community, because I had to survive in a community that was created to destroy me. So for me to survive there, I had to have no love for that community anymore. No love for those people that was in that community anymore, because I had to survive what was created to harm me. What he is talking about is being able to now manage those emotions, those traumas, right, that we're dealing with, so then I can become more sensitive and more humanized to my community, to look at individuals as though that they're no longer my enemies, but these are my people that's going through struggles also. All right, so what that looked like for me was, for the first time, being able to put my feet on the soil in Africa, to be able to realize psychologically, mentally, and emotionally that I survived through the transatlantic slave trade, to be able to land somewhere in America, finally land somewhere in Chicago, finally land on the south side of Roseland, to then be connected to Equity and Transformation, connected to Brandon, take me back to Africa and say, this is where you really started from. And I had, through me, I was able to bring my ancestors back home. What they told us is that we was going to pass through this door, no return, where we would never return back. And I'm saying what stands before you all today, it gives me goosebumps right now, that the realization of that is I did return back and I brought my ancestors back home. That I did not start off in poverty. I did not start off in slavery, right? I did not start off in this mindset that I have to survive, or that I'm living in lack or living in poverty. I come from righteousness. I come from kingdom. I come from prosperity. But more importantly than that, so are all of my people. And this is where we're taking ourselves back to, but it's learning how to control and regulate everything that's going on inside of us. So when I'm able and ready to act out, I could look at my fellow brother, I can look at my fellow sister and say that, you know what, I'm not looking at them as an individual that would do me harm, or looking at how I could some type of way manipulate them to get something out of them, but I'm looking at them as an individual in purpose, looking at them as a leader, looking at them as beneficial to themselves and our community, and understand that they're connected to me. So this is where we're at. This is what we're talking about.
All right, Ashe, can you clap it up? I'm actually going, folks in the back asked us to keep the mic. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it the whole time. I'm gonna do my best. So we want to ask you to practice with us. Why is practice important? One of the things that we talk about embodiment is we can embody anything. Like I can choose to learn to practice anything. That comes from sports science. Basically, they looked at pitchers. When a pitcher throws a pitch, the 300th time it's a habit. You kind of got to think about it. By the 3,000th time, you don't got to think about it. You just naturally do it. And this system has us embodying certain things with ourselves and each other that we would never want to embody. White supremacy, patriarchy, racial capitalism. And those are big words, but it means our interactions are built in competition, not love for each other, right? They're built in how can I get over, not how can we support each other. They're built in violence, not peace. And what we contend is there's a way we can choose to embody something different. We can embody indigeneity, embody Africa through our bodies. How do we do that? One of the ways is called a centering practice. Y'all okay to practice with me? So you're gonna need your hands, your feet, kind of dropping everything for a second, and then just starting to fall into silence, hearing a little bit of the noise. As part of my meditation practice, sometimes I meditate with shit in the background because we got to be able to focus even in the midst of the noise. So see if you can drop in with you right now, just for a second. Yeah, making friends with silence. I'm just inviting a deep, settling breath here. Yeah, just seeing if you can feel the chair underneath your body 10% more. Yeah, letting your sit bones do their work. And seeing if you can feel your lungs expanding and contracting. Safety, belonging, dignity. Those are things that human beings need to survive. Unfortunately, the systems around us have robbed us of those things. The criminal legal system in particular takes away our safety. The people who are supposed to keep us safe actually have us the most unsafe around them. The criminal legal system takes away our dignity. If you go inside, you get a number. If you're on the outside, you're ashamed because you have family members who are on the inside. It takes away our belonging. There are literally barbed wire cages and all of these hoops and leaps to make a phone call or to go in and see a family member. It's on purpose to take away our safety, our belonging, and our dignity. And lastly, it takes away our purpose. It takes away our capacity to say, this is what's important to me, this is what I'm going for. We're gonna get into a practice where we can give that back to ourselves. I can give myself safety. I can give myself dignity. I can give myself belonging. So start that process by seeing if you can clench your hands for 5 seconds as hard as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start to let that go. And you just noticing, getting really curious, what sensations are coming up, what emotion, what's the narrative, the story I'm telling myself. Clenching hands and arms, 5 seconds. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let that go. Inviting breath in. Clenching hands, arms, belly, chest, and back. So your torso. Hands and arms. 7 seconds, as hard as you can. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So stay curious. You're going to feel all kinds of things. It's for you. Listen to your body. Let's see if we can add in the lower half of our body. So clenching hands, clenching arms, clenching belly, back, chest, and then adding in glutes, all the way down to our toes. 7 seconds, as hard as you can. So everything from the neck down. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let that go. And just get curious. No judgment. See if there's anything your body has to say to you. And for some of us, this may be a lot. I want to acknowledge that. Sitting still for me for a long ass time was a lot. Sitting down, shit would come up that I wasn't ready for. But just get curious. Hold it light as a feather. All right, we want to add in our jaws now. Our jaws and our eyes. So entire body, jaws, eyes, clenching on purpose all the way down to our toes. 7 seconds, hard as you can. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let that go. Just be with it. We want to add in one more layer here. So our breath is involuntary, right? It happens without us. Anything in our body that happens without us, when we start to play with it, to regulate it, it invites new sensation and experiences with our nervous system. So I want you to clench your entire body for 7 seconds, and if you're able to, if you don't have breathing issues, go ahead and hold your breath too. Holding our breath, clenching our entire body for 7 seconds. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and let that fall away. And just get curious. From this place, we want to center on purpose. A relaxed body is a powerful body. Y'all feel any different in here? Yeah, I'm seeing some head nods. All right, from this place, we want to center in our length, our width, and our depth. So if you're able to, go ahead and stand. If you like to sit, you can do it seated as well. But if you're standing, you want to center like this. You want to take a moment, place your thumb on your belly button. And under your center, under your belly button, I should say, is this, under the hand is a center. It's the place in you that knows. Some call it the sacral, some call it the gut. I'm from Oakland. The gut is like, man, I knew I shouldn't have did that shit. I knew I shouldn't trust that motherfucker. Maybe I can't say that here, but like, that's the gut. The gut tells you, I knew that. Why didn't you listen to me? Western culture says we don't listen to this. When we go back to the motherland, it's all this. And so see if you can just get curious with your gut for a second, anything it has to say to you. And you can take that other hand and put it at the small of your back and just notice that your gut is not a spot. It's a 360 band of nerves and tendons and tissues and muscle and fat and all connected. Center of gravity. You can get here and be here and open yourself up to something different, something new, some other information. Keeping your attention here. You can even keep your hands if you want to, but you can also drop your hands, and now we're going to center in our length, our respect, and dignity. So I invite you to see if you can get heavy from your hips down. So hips to knees get heavy. Knees to ankles get heavy. Ankles to the bottom of your feet, can you get heavy? Like really rooting into the ground. Imagining if underneath your feet you grabbed the soil, like with roots. And then eyes here, vertebrae by vertebrae, I want you to extend down, then at the same time up into your full height. Chin parallel to the ground. And notice that. Eyes forward. See if you can open your eyes and be in the space. Reach for ground, reach for sky at the same time. Respect and dignity. Feel yourself in your full dignity. Yeah, can't be given, can't be taken away. And see if you can stretch up and down just a bit more, 5% more. Can I reach for more ground and reach for more sky at the same time? Yeah, in all situations, you get to have dignity. You are not the worst thing you've done. You are not the worst thing that's been done to you. Can you feel that in your body? That's centered in length, respect, and dignity. Centered in width, keep that length, and then also see if you can take up some space across your hips. You can spread your arms out, across your jaw, across your knees. Can you take up some space? Can you just cover more in the ground? Can you feel the people to the left and right of you? Our width is about our capacity to be in relationship with other people, to love and be loved. Some of us in here got bellies. I got one. Can you let your belly out? Breathe. Like, we get to be in all of us. Society, systems. Sometimes our loved ones they ask us to shrink. The world where we get reparations is one where we're in our dignity and we're wide. We're also connected. See if you can maybe even take a moment and grab the hand of somebody next to you for a second and just feel like we're in this together. You don't got to hold it for too long, but just grab it. We here. We connected. All right, keeping that length, keeping that width, you can drop the hands and take a moment and see if you can feel the back of your body. Our depth, back of the head, back of the neck, back of the shoulders, lower back, all the way down to the heels, back of the legs. I often will take my hands and clasp them behind my back, or at least push them back just to get a charge going. And what you're noticing here is like, what sensations can I feel here? Our back is our history. Our back is I'm gonna keep it a buck. Our back is our trauma, the shit that we've been through. The transatlantic slave trade lives in our collective lineage at our backs. The times we or our loved one got interacted with that prison system, it lives at our backs. But also our triumphs live at our back. Lineages and movements before us. Can you feel into that? Can you even lean into your heels and notice like, okay, something bigger than me, something's been holding me this whole time. Feel for that, and then at the same time, can you feel for the future? Top of the hands, top of the feet, tip of the nose, tips of the lips. Like, where are you going? Why be here? Where are you going? From your body, not your brain. And just like you have a past and a future, you have a present moment. Can you feel your heartbeat? Can you feel your lungs expanding and contracting? And stack them all together. Back of the shoulders, heartbeat, front of the chest. Feel that. Lower back, last thing you ate, digest in front of the belly. Tops and bottoms of the feet. Centered in our depth, we're centered in our history and our capacity for safety. And so now we stack all those things together. So come on back home, center. You can put thumb on the belly button and center in length. Center in your respect and dignity. And even take a moment in the space and look around and see other folks connected to y'all's movement who are in their respect and dignity. Fully upright. Feel that, and then at the same time, feel your width again. Feel your connection to the people to the left and right of you. And then also feel for history, back of the body. Feel for the present moment, and feel for the future. And last thing we stack on top of that is our commitment. And we ask ourselves, like, what are you a commitment to? I'm a commitment to black love, a love that is consistent, disciplined, and joyful. Black love, a love that is consistent, disciplined, and joyful, because I was taught growing up in West Oakland to hate black people, to hate black men in particular. And now I get to get up every day and build a life where I get to help black people get free. And by black people getting free, all people get free. So feel that and drop into you. What's important to you? From this place, who do you love? Yeah, what does a healed Chicago look like? Drop in with all those questions. And turn to the person to the right or the left of you and have a quick conversation. What was centering like? And what's important to you?
So I definitely wanted to get some questions answered real quick. Let me do this like this. If you can hear my voice, clap one time. Hear my voice, clap 2 times. All right, I think we here. How did that feel to you all? I know when we started, it was good? Because I was going back and forth like, man, they don't know what no centering is. They done saw me take my shoes off. They like, what's getting ready to happen up in here? And so I'm glad that, you all was able to participate with that, engage it. And again, it was important to me on how we came out on the other end. So can I say that it was good? I can say that? All right. A personal question, and I'm gonna ask the personal question first before I get into the rest of it. Would any of you all do that again or like to do it again? Yes or no? Okay. All right, cool. So I'm on. Okay. All right, that's it. All right. So some of the things that I want to ask real quick is, and I'm gonna say this part, and then you all, I'll model it, and then again pass it to you all. One of the questions that Brandon asked was, and he talked about, was commitments, right? For me, when I first started doing this, I had a commitment to be able to my commitment was to be able to take care of others who could not take care of themselves. After the years of doing this, my commitment had to change. My commitment changed to taking care of myself so that I'd be able to take care of others who cannot take care of themselves. So I want to ask, I'm just going to take about 2 or 3 individuals. What was the commitments that you all made to yourself, or the commitments that you came up with during this time, if anything came up for you? And how was it? That's the piece. How was it making those commitments? What did you think about, and what were they? And like I said, I can only take about 3 of them. So the first 3 with their hands in the air, we'll go with you all. Or before I just start pointing people out, right? Because I'm real good. Okay. You can come up. And y'all laughing, but I'm definitely going to point over there in 1 minute. All right?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the practice. I've done the practice before, and as an alumni of Bold, probably some Boulders here. All right, Boulders, okay. Yeah, Black Organizing for Leadership and Dignity. But when I initially did the practice, my commitment was I am a commitment to be a free-centered and choiceful leader. And that came from a period of reflection where I came up through movement spaces where I didn't feel like I had choices. I was following leadership. It was my duty was to do the work, and I was not always making clear choices in that work. And that was breeding resentment. So in order to alleviate resentment, I now get to make certain choices about what work is important to me and what work I want to prioritize. And I have less resentment as regards to that. So check.
Thank you. All right, we got anybody else before I just point you out? Okay. Come on, finish the sandwich and come on up. Yeah. So while he's on his way up here, one of the pieces with this that was so important to me, and I'm sharing this so you all can understand how relatable and how serious it is. Just think about how we walk through our community, and as we're walking past individuals, you have to fix your face a certain way or have your guard up, just walking through community, right? Individuals will look at me and ask me, like, man, every time you look at me, like, man, is everything all right? And that was my face, that was my build, that's what I was holding inside of me. And me going through these somatics is helping me to regulate that. I'm not saying that I get it right all the time. Again, there's times you can look at me and you can still see what I'm holding on the inside, but I'm saying that is our whole community. We're holding a lot of trauma on the inside, and it's coming out of our bodies in different ways. All right?
So you want to know my commitment?
What's your commitment?
How y'all doing? My name is Fred.
I'm in size now.
My commitment is to just being a better person, being a better friend, a better father, and I'm committed. I have another commitment to become a EAT member. Okay. That's one of my commitments.
We're gonna help you with that.
And my commitment is to money, going to work every day. Okay. That's it.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you for that. All right, I need your help. You can come on up here. Yeah. Okay, one more. Come on. Yeah.
Can I say how it was? It can't reach this way.
My commitment. Wow. Hi, my name is Omega. My commitment is I take care of my nephew with cerebral palsy. And at first, my commitment was totally 100% to him. I got ill, I had open heart surgery, so I told him, let me take care of me, give me a couple months, and then that's all I do now. I still take care of him. I'm fine, as you can see, and that's basically my commitment as of today.
All right, thank you all for that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and wrap this part up.
Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank you, Brandon, thank you, Zoe. Let's give it up for him one time. All right, y'all, we got about 30 minutes left, so I definitely appreciate all y'all coming out today, everybody that's here. This other breakout group is coming to join us as we wrap, so let's give it up for ourselves coming out, being in community today. Yes, 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 yes. Now, to bring us home, we're gonna bring up one more person. Our partner, a West Sider, a West Side organizer herself, Vanessa Stokes, is gonna come up and kind of just envision with us what it looks like. We talked about all the pillars, right? When all the pillars are satisfied and we win and go forward, what does that look like and how do we build systems in our community to make that last? So Vanessa will bring us home, and then as you're on your way out, make sure you stop at the little teller desk right there, take their survey, and get you a swag bag. It got a t-shirt, a hat, a water bottle, all sorts of little treats in it, so it's worth the survey. So make sure you check that desk on your way out, and I'll bring up Vanessa. 1 second, she pulling up her PowerPoint. No worries. No worries. Is that other breakout group back over here? No. Hey, Vanessa. Vanessa, you want to start and then I'll take and do that?
That's me. That's me. I was looking for it. Yeah. I'm just gonna take it off and then.
And then I'll do it on my phone while you're
Yeah,
talking.
that's good. That's good. Let me just.
Yeah, I just did. I just thought I'll just take this over. So yeah, I think just disconnect and I'll do that. And I got you. It'll be up in just a second. Okay. Here you go.
All right. Hi, everybody. Wasn't that great? That was great, wasn't it? Come on, let's give it up for him. Let's give it up for Brandon. That was really great. Thank you so much for bringing me out. My name is Vanessa Stokes. I'm a West Side resident. I live about 5 minutes away from here. So it's really great to be in the community and to share with you all the work that is happening on the West Side. So I am an artist. I'm a writer and a photographer. I've been managing my father's archive. My father was also a photographer. He had the first Black-owned photography studio in Chicago, and I've been managing his work for the last 30 years. And I've been doing like public art in the community. I've been doing just organized around art and culture for many years. So that brought me to doing work along our corridors. So I used to work with West Side Health Authority doing work on Chicago Avenue. I created Pop Courts. I don't know if you all are familiar, but it's an outdoor plaza space on Chicago and Lockwood. So you can start from the beginning. That's really small. I don't know if that's gonna work for me. I could barely see it myself. But you could just leave it, and I'll just use it from my brain so I can share with you all. Oh, there we go. That's good. Okay. So while doing this work in community, I really started to see that This assembly process that we're doing today, we're also associated with the People's Movement Assembly. So when Brooke spoke earlier, we've been working with them also to do similar type of work on the West Side. So you could go to the next one, Maurice. We could go to the next one. We already did that already. You could go to the next slide. I'm gonna flip through these slides because I know this has been a very it's been a very grounding day, and I think there's been a lot of information that we've been just dealing with today. So I just want to share with you some of the work that I've been doing over the years. So can you go back a slide? Okay, that one right there. So this outdoor plaza space right here, if you all can see it, it's on the corner of Chicago and Lockwood. It's called Pop Courts. And because of that space, I helped to create it with community. I'm opening a gallery and cafe next door. It's called Out West Gallery and Cafe. And then Jim is my partner. Unfortunately, he couldn't come today. And he's also creating with his group, The K, which is on Madison and Kilbourne. It's a business incubator space. So the work that we were doing along the corridors, being developers, we just saw an opportunity to build with community when we have all of these opportunities for community to build with. You can go to the next one. Oh. So just with the work, I've also been working with the Park District. Parkland is so important, green space is so important in how we heal and grow, right? So I said, well, wouldn't it be nice if we could start working with our parks to build what is possible also? So what came out of that is West Side Assembly. So the assembly system that we're creating on the West Side is to really co-govern with community around the built environment, right? So the work that is happening with our parks are subpar. They need a lot of work, right? How do we steward those spaces? It's very important for us to take our assets and to build with them, right? So that's okay. So I think it's important to connect what we're doing to what we're doing today, right? So the fifth pillar of reparations is the guarantee of non-repetition, right? So that pillar is kind of the work that we're doing. So that's the through line with our work in reparations, is to find spaces to build with community, so when reparations do come, because they will, right? And that's what we're standing in, is the reparations, they will come. So when they come, we have space to build with community, right? So because our parks are such an important part of that, because our corridors are so important to that, we don't have infrastructure in our corridors, right? We need the infrastructure to make it walkable, make it safe, right? So people can walk out of their house and walk down the street, so they can be in a third place, in a cafe, in a restaurant to sit down. All of those things are part of the community that are really important as we're building through this space, this conversation that we're having today. So that was the guarantees of non-repetition. So assemble, essentially, thank you. Yeah, we're right here. So with Out West Gallery and Cafe, it just made sense. I was like, we need an ecosystem. I can't just build a building and expect people to show up, right? And if you see, we have a Black-owned grocery store on the West Side called 40 Acres Fresh Market. Are you all familiar with that space, right? So we have a Black-owned grocery store, and I don't know how her business is doing, but every time I go in there, there's not a whole lot of people in there, right? It's on Chicago. It's a 5700 block on Chicago. It's like a block west of Central. I think that's Mayfield. I can't remember what street it is, but she's not, the business isn't as good as it should be, right? And that's because people just, it's hard to change our shopping habits, right? And so it's a mindset shift that we have to do as we're building a community, right? So I love all the imagining that we're doing today, because I think that's the real important part of how we create these systems is to imagine what that could look like. So we have community development as an ecosystem in the middle, but then we have to build with community in order for those people to actually show up. We want people to show up in these spaces. So we have public space, cultural organizing, economic development, stewardship, relationship infrastructure, and civic participation. Those are the ways of how we're going to build infrastructure for our corridors, for the built environment. You could go to the next one. Thank you. So this is what I was saying about the pillars, the 5 pillars of reparations framework. So we're focusing in on the 5th pillar, which is the guarantees of non-repetition. Our focus, we are building the structures that ensure our communities are never again systematically harmed, excluded, or disinvested, right? So the work that we're doing with Assemble is around this work. You could go to the next one. So what communities need to sustain each other? So we're always responding to crisis all the time. Wouldn't you say that? Would you say that we're always responding to a problem? Something happened. We got to move over here. We got to build a group because something happened. Oh no, something happened. We got to build another group, right? But those groups end up falling apart and they don't work, right? Or they just end. So what we need to really sustain ourselves are structures for stewardship, leadership development. That's a huge thing. And we have a whole system that we're looking at when it comes to leadership development. Our elected officials, right? Do our elected officials work for us? What do you all think? Are there any elected officials in the room? Are there? They're not here, are they? Right, that's the problem. You know what I mean? That's what I see, is like, how are we supposed to build? We need to create our own spaces for our communities, which includes building spaces for leadership and development of our elected officials. So I have a question for you all. What structures help communities sustain participation beyond moments of mobilization? Anybody? What structures do we need? Yes. Faith-based communities to start. Anyone else? What structures do we need? Yes. Social clubs. Perfect. Yes, ma'am. Facilities that can provide food and shelter. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Say that one more time. After school programs for our young people. Yes, sir, in the back. Community and family structures. Yes, sir, in the back. Say that one more time. Unions. Yes. Yes, all of these are structures and important for us to recreate community. Maurice. That's okay, that's okay, that's okay. So I'm bringing this to you because this is the work that, as we're rethinking and as we're looking at reparations, right? These structures are important for us to build now. Now, we gotta build them now, right? So when reparations comes, we can move. It'll be a lateral move. You can go to the next one. So parks are so important for our families, right? Not just young people, older folks, young folks, everybody uses the parks, right? So the parks are a way to create the cultural infrastructure that we need to continue to build out what these spaces can look like when reparations does come. So what spaces in your neighborhood still bring people together across generations? Social clubs, I bet, right? Anyone else? Say it again. The lakefront. The lakefront. How many of you all actually go to the lakefront? Okay, great. So we do have, so people see the assets of the lakefront, right? Beautiful. You can go to the next one. So one of the other spaces I think is huge, right? Is like the built environment. Are you all familiar with environmental justice? Yes? Okay, so environmental justice is a new term for stuff that we've already been doing, right? But there is ways for us to align with environmental justice. So environmental justice is connected to our land, development, public space, how we govern, participation, how we work together, stewardship, long-term decision-making power. This is environmental justice. But what I think the question usually is are these two questions at the bottom? Who usually gets to decide what gets built? Are we in the decision-making of what gets built most of the time? No, right? Who often gets excluded from those decisions? We do, right? So as we're looking at our built environment, these are some of the things that I think we need to look at in how we are connecting one another. So what is Assemble? So Assemble is the West Side Assembly system. So it's a civic and cultural infrastructure framework that we're creating. So essentially when I was building this gallery cafe on Chicago Avenue, I'm like, are people gonna show up? Are we gonna have people that are actually gonna be here, right? Or are they, and as I'm looking at the landscape, there's not a whole lot of new businesses. We don't have a whole lot of anchors. How are we gonna build business in our community? And then I was looking at our parks and are we using them sufficiently, right? So I was like, well, what if we meet at the park and we talk about cultural infrastructure? We talk about our parks, we talk about our assets, and we talk about our corridors, right? And how to connect people to resources and how to get the right policies for those spaces. So Assemble is a participatory assembly structure. So we're using the same kind of structure as this assembly today. It's a stewardship framework, a relational organizing system, and a community governance practice. So how we function, we have our quarterly assemblies. We got one coming up next week at La Follette Park. And then we have our circles in which we use technology and use ways to connect and how we further the conversation. We also are looking at emerging initiatives, how the residents can lead different projects. But something that is dear to my heart is leadership development, because I don't want to be doing this forever. I want to be able to hand it off to somebody else, right? Be able to train people and get them ready for leadership development. You go to the next one. Thank you. So our 4 core areas are place, memory, and healing, art, culture, and story, community, wealth building, and shared economy, and care, capacity, and leadership. So we found that these 4 areas are the most important areas in the community and how we could build from them. You go to the next one. And I'm going through these quickly because I know this has been a long day, and I don't want to put more on y'all to think about, but I just want you to imagine. I think that's the one thing that I got from today is how to imagine what it's like for us to be in community where we don't have to live from a traumatic space, right? You could go to the next slide. I'm sorry, go ahead. You can go to the next one. So the larger vision. So the larger vision is this is a replicable community framework. Anybody could do this in their community, right? You can create space in your community where you could connect with folks and build consistently and have continuity in that. That's the one thing that I love about the assembly system is it's not a plan. It's not like a quality of life plan where you create something and then it just ends, right? It's a continuous meeting of the minds of community. So the building continuity together is the call to action, right? So build your own local assemblies, create stewardship pathways, develop shared leadership, strengthening public participation, reimagine what governance collectively looks like. So this is a closing reflection. You don't have to answer this if you want. If you want to, that's fine. But if you don't, and I just want you all to think about this as you go through your day. What becomes possible when communities possess structures capable of sustaining care, stewardship, participation, and collective leadership across generations? So when you're going through your day, think about that. What is possible? What becomes possible when we have these structures available to us? Okay? And here's me. This is what I do, okay? So this is my consulting company, and I wanted to share that with y'all. So if y'all have any questions, I'm open to having conversations with anybody about what is possible in their own communities, right? You can't really see it on the slide, but if you come up to me, I'll just give you my card and we can talk. But I think the important thing here is that this is a replicable structure. What EAT is doing here today, what Movement for Black Lives is doing is something that we could do in our own communities. And I just wanted to show you a way that is possible. We're doing it right here on the west side at our parks. And the last slide, I think this is the last one. So until we gather again, we are the ones we have been waiting for. It's us, y'all. Go well. Stay connected, keep building. And if you like to come to our assembly so you can see how it's done, we're having it next weekend at La Fala Park. There's a QR code right there. Y'all can scan it. And please join us. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Vanessa. Let's give it up for Vanessa one more time, y'all. Appreciate you. We finna wrap. So we gonna wrap, y'all. It's been a day. We appreciate y'all coming out, being in community with us, eating with us, talking with us. Definitely before you go, oh yeah, let's give it up again. Shit, we can clap it up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So again, shout out all y'all in the community for being in this space. Shout out the partner orgs. I'm not reading that against the game. Y'all know we love y'all. Before you go, y'all take this survey. It take a few minutes and you get you a swag bag. It got t-shirts, hats, charger, water bottle, so it's worth taking the survey. It's some organization with tables at front if you want to get plugged in up front. But thank y'all again. We appreciate y'all coming out. Give yourselves a round of applause and have a great rest of y'all weekend.
Appreciate y'all. Indeed, indeed, indeed.